A 55-year-old male patient who was of good health presented with the right-sided tremor for 8 months.
Okay, tell me.
No
what are-
other complaint.
Okay, tell me names of the involuntary movements you know of.
Tremor,
Yes.
chorea,
Chorea, right?
athetosis,
Athetosis.
chorioathetosis,
Okay, together.
hemibalismus,
Right.
dystonia,
Dystonia.
then fasciculation,
Myoclonus.
myoclonus.
Fasciculation. Tics. Okay. So we have a couple of. So here it is specifically mentioned. It is the tremor of right side.
Yes, sir.
Okay, carry on. You are given more details, no? On
No,
examination.
sir. We got only the history.
You got it now on examination. You can see now.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I can see. On examination, tremor at rest, but increased when walking.
Yeah, that's right. So what is the impression you get now? Somebody is having rest tremor on one side.
Okay, sir. Unilateral rest tremor is a classical feature of Parkinson's disease.
Okay, fine. Oh, that's good. So tremor can occur at rest. It can occur in positional tremor, and tremor can be action tremor. So 3 types of tremors you know. So what are the features of rest tremor? Examples of rest tremor. Some examples of rest tremor. Tremor at rest. What's the differential diagnosis? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, okay. Parkinson's disease, yes. Wilson's disease. Then
Yes, sir, Wilson's disease.
very severe form of essential tremor
Night tremor.
can
Yes,
have.
sir. Yes, sir.
So how do you elicit rest tremor? If you keep your hand flat on the table, you will not get tremor. Commonly best seen when your upper limb is kept in a semi-pronated position where you can easily elicit it. At rest, semi-pronated position, you can see particularly the thumb moving to and fro. That's why it's called pill rolling.
Yes, sir. Pill rolling or cigarette
Okay.
making.
So this is how you look at the Parkinson's tremor or rest tremor. Second type of tremor is positional tremor. How do you elicit it? You ask the patient to extend the limb forward and keep it like that with the effect of anti-gravity muscles. Then you get maximum amount of tremor. That is called as positional tremor. So what are the causes of positional tremor? What are situations where you extend the upper limb?
Physiological tremor
Very
occurring in
Very good. Anxiety.
anxiety
Yes.
or hyperthyroidism,
Very good. That's good. Yes.
alcohol intake.
Yes. And essential tremor also. Essential tremor also. You can have this type of tremor. And if you take too much amount of caffeine, you may get some tremor at the position. And how do you elicit action tremor? Action tremor is the process of
We ask the patient to outstretch his hand with separated fingers
need not
and we
separate
place the tremor in between the fingers and
need not separate the finger. You can even make a fist and put one index finger forward, and you can elicit the action tremor. That only shows that different muscles are contracting. Okay, finger nose test, rapid pronation supination, or tapping with your foot. Anything can produce this type of tremor. So this particular patient was having rest tremor, and then minimal tremor on
finger nose testing.
so the minimal tremor. So that also can happen in a person's rest tremor. Then
He has a poked face.
he walks very slowly.
He walks very slowly and deliberately.
Deliberately. So what does it mean?
Sir, first line gait.
It slowly means he is having bradykinesia. Bradykinesia. So this is very classical. Bradykinesia is the most disabling symptom of Parkinson, and he has got that problem. He walks very slowly and he is walking deliberately. Yes. And he has a
Poker face.
what is that? What is that? What's a classical description of face of a Parkinson patient?
Expressionless face, mask-like faces.
What are the features of a expressionless face? What are the expressions you have?
Sir, only smiling.
Smiling will not take place, yes.
Then
He will have what is called as hypomimia, that produces mask-like face or bradykinesia of the muscles of his face. So bradykinesia of muscles of face produces hypomimia. Okay, and if you ask him to slightly close the eyelid, it will go into tremor. It's called blepharochronus. And if you ask him to talk, he will have a low volume, monotonous, tremulous voice, maybe having. But when we say mask, we mean to say his eyelids are not blinking. So it looks as if he is staring. Eyelids are not blinking, he is not smiling. And it may also happen that saliva is drooling through the sides. It's a classical description of a Parky. Yes. Then what is happening next?
tone increased on right side.
So what is that possibly due to?
Sir, rigidity.
It can be rigidity or it can be spasticity, but in this background, more likely to be rigidity. Yes.
Corporeal rigidity in Parkinson's. Then the patient is not on any drugs.
Yes.
And his past family and personal history is normal.
Normal. So what do you make out so far?
Sir, the patient has only tremor of the patient has only unilateral tremor of right side. So most probably it can be Parkinson's disease. So in Parkinson's disease there can be only during the initial times there may be only tremor. So the history points towards Parkinson's disease, and on examination examination findings also points to diagnosis of Parkinson's disease.
Is it likely that there's a Parkinson's patient without tremor?
Yes, sir. Tremor is an early feature of Parkinsonism.
Now, can there be Parkinson's without tremor? That's the question. No. Only 60% patient will be having tremor. there can be variety without tremor, with rigidity only.
Okay, sir.
So the important points we noted here is, he has a unilateral resting tremor, 1. 2, he has a unilateral rigidity. 3, he has got bradykinesia as evidenced by his walk, his gait. So bradykinesia, tremor, rigidity is a triad by which you make a diagnosis of Parkinson's. Since it is unilateral, you think also it can be idiopathic, otherwise called as Parkinson's disease. Your thinking is correct. One more component of Parkinson is there, namely abnormal postural reflexes. What are they? That's what is elicited by propulsion, retropulsion and lateropulsion, which is not an early feature of Parkinson. It comes later on. So from the history, it's very straightforward. It looks like a unilateral disease, so looks like a idiopathic. So possibility is, you mentioned the Parkinson's disease.
Okay.
That's a good thinking. So features are bradykinesia, you already said, resting tremor, rigidity. You said asymmetry. But 2 points to be noted here is no history of falls, no history of hallucinations. Why do you say so? What's the importance of these 2 points here?
Mm,
Do Parkinson's disease fall?
Parkinson,
Yes. Idiopathic Parkinson's disease falls are a late feature. Involvement of higher mental functions producing cognitive impairment, hallucinations are a late feature. So that's why they are not there. But in course of time, these things may appear. Okay. So you had a clue. This is a Parkinson's disease. There are 2 negative things: no fault, no hallucination, and postural reflexes may appear later on. So
Okay,
how
sir.
do you analyze a case of tremor? How do you analyze tremor?
Sir, on examination wise, look for other features like titubation of head.
What does titubation indicate to you? Titubation indicates what? Titubation.
Triangle attack.
Titubation is not a feature of Parkinson's disease. If you heard somebody with titubation, think of benign essential tremor. Yes, what else you want to know in the analysis of tremor?
The frequency.
Frequency, yes. But what's the unit?
Of tremor.
What is the unit of measurement of frequency? What is usually unit of measurement?
Hertz.
Hertz, okay, that's good. So, suppose the tremor occurred abruptly in a person, what is your opinion about that tremor? Why should you analyze tremor basically? It is to find out that this patient is not having a psychological disease, but it is an organic disease. So how will you recognize psychological tremor, hysterical tremor, tremor occurring without any organic disease? How do you find it out?
So depending on the character of the tremor.
Psychological tremors usually appear abruptly. It will not have any pattern. Tremor has got a pattern. They don't have a pattern. And you divert their attention, that will disappear. It will not be stereotyped. So it is very easy to recognize this. Only thing you must be careful, the entity is there. So what is the definition of a tremor?
The tremor is involuntary rhythmic oscillatory movements produced by alternate contraction of a group of muscles.
Contraction of alternate group of muscles. So it is a involuntary movement. Agreed. It's a rhythmical movement. What's meant by rhythm? Rhythm. One contraction follows the other in a
Periodic.
definite interval, just like regular pulse. Interval between pulses will be same. That's what's called rhythm. That's called rhythm. So tremor will be having a rhythm, but your psychological tremor will not have a rhythm. It will not follow any rhythm. So this is a definition. How do you classify tremor? We said 3 types of tremors. Other types of tremors. Onset of tremor. Onset of tremor. At what age a tremor started? How does it help you?
To find whether it is senile tremors, age is important.
At what age essential tremor starts?
Essential tremor starts early.
Essential tremor has got a bimodal onset. Can be in adolescent or it can be later in life. So, okay. Wilson's disease, it may appear early. Question number 2. What are the cause of bilateral tremor?
Hyperthyroidism.
Okay, bilateral, right.
Cerebellar tremors.
Can be unilateral, can be bilateral. Okay.
Okay, sir. Then
Parkinson.
essential tremors. Essential tremors can be bilateral.
Essential is bilateral and Parkinsonism is bilateral. Parkinson's disease is unilateral. If the cerebellum is affected only one side, you get unilateral tremor. Which all body parts will be affected, which all body parts will be spared. In Parkinson's disease, other than the upper limb and lower limb, any other part can have tremor.
Yes, sir.
You can have a tremor of your face, tremor of your eyelids, tremor of your chin. But titubation is not a feature.
Yes, sir.
And broken voice is again feature of essential tremor, not a part of Parkinson's. When is this worst? How does it help you? This question, when is worst? What happens during sleep?
Then
Yes. If you get tremor only when you move, that's called action tremor.
it may approach by movement.
If it
in
is not
Parkinson's
makes it rest, movement or static posture, that will divide it. When you are under stress, what will happen to Parkinson's tremor?
Sir, it may increase.
It increases, yes. What are the factors that will make it better? Any tremor? What all questions you would like to ask? Somebody is drinking alcohol, tremor disappears. Possibilities are?
It can be physiological tremor on alcohol, so it decreases with withdrawal.
Withdrawal tremor can disappear when you take alcohol, that's true. And benign essential tremor also may improve with alcohol.
Okay, sir.
Would you like to know the drug history of this patient?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Which are the drugs related to tremor? In the analysis of tremor, which drugs come into mind?
Sir, beta agonists, antipsychotics.
Which antipsychotic you are? He is on having manic depressive psychosis. What all drugs you think he may be on? What are the
Lithium.
lithium? So what are the common side effects of lithium?
Tremor is a common side effect.
Tremor is a common
Then,
side effect.
Renal,
Diarrhea,
renal,
diarrhea, hypothyroidism. So how will you find out whether there is side effect of lithium overdose? You have to check the lithium levels. How often you check the serum levels of lithium? The practical point. You start with every week, then every 3 weeks. One study, you do it every 3 months. And how do you monitor the side effects? How do you monitor hypothyroidism? How often you must check the thyroid function test? Every 6 months. And if you want to check the drug levels, when you should draw the blood from the patient. Patient had taken drug at 9 o'clock night. When shall you take the blood? How many minutes or hours after the last dose? Commonly it is 12 hours. At that time you take the blood levels. Okay, so you want to ask about drugs. One drug you mentioned was lithium. There are other drugs also involved in tremor. You said the beta agonist. That's a good thinking. Yes. What are the cognitive dysfunctions you ask in these patients? What is meant by cognition? Cognition means what?
nervous system, like higher mental functions,
Cognition.
ability to understand.
That's correct. So cognition is defined as ability of a person to learn new things.
Okay, sir.
That's cognition. So why should you ask about cognition in these patients? Cognition points to dementia. Okay. So history of falls. I'd like to ask history of falls. In a cerebellar disease with a tremor, which direction they fall?
To the affected side.
Affected side. In a Parkinson's patient, which side they fall to?
It can be either side.
They fall forward. And which side they fall in case of progressive supranuclear palsy? They fall backwards. So, tremor is a rhythmical, involuntary contraction of alternating groups of muscles. So, tell something about essential tremor. That comes as a differential diagnosis here. Just go bimoral age of onset.
It's the most common pathological cause of an action tremor. It affects the upper limbs and changes posture and action components, and improves with alcohol.
And possibly beta blocker.
Okay, sir.
And how do you differ essential tremor from cerebellar tremor? When you say tremor, there are two types of tremors: minimal tremor, fine tremor, and coarse tremor. Essential tremor is basically a coarse tremor.
Yes, sir.
So how do you differentiate it from cerebellar tremor, which is also coarse?
The cerebellar tremor is intentional tremor.
So when you ask the patient to do the finger nose test, cerebellar tremor increases from the point of starting. It increases and reaches maximum when you reach the target. benign essential tremor remains same throughout course tremor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If you ask a person to write, what will happen?
Small handwriting.
No, essential tremor will continue to be same when you ask him to write. But when you ask the person to write, in a case of Parkinson's disease, it becomes small letters called micrographia and becomes smaller and smaller as he continues to write. And what happens if it's case of writer's cramp, what will happen?
Pardon, sir?
In writer's cramp, what happens? Writer's cramp, as they start writing, cramps increases and it becomes ineligible.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Wilson's disease, what happens? It's a type of familial disease, no?
Yes, sir.
The age is young. And how do you elicit the tremor of Wilson? That's called a wing flapping tremor. You ask the patient to abduct the shoulders and maintain that position, and you can see the upper limbs swinging like a bird flying, no? So that's the classical pattern of Wilson's tremor. And symmetry of the tremor indicates the Parkinson disease. Head tremor and voice tremor rules out Parkinson's disease. You don't get intubation in these patients. Okay. And both these tremors disappear during REM part of the sleep. And no early falls, no cognitive problems to start with in case of Parkinson's disease. So, coming to tremor, again, you are looking at the amplitude of tremor. You already mentioned the hertz, the measurement. So frequency, you said. Distribution of tremor, you said. Voluntary rest action tremor, also you have mentioned. Yes, this patient had increased tone, defined tone.
Tone is passive resistance offered to movement, involuntary movement.
Passive resistance to involuntary movement as evidenced by resistance to passive movement. Okay. This amount of partial contraction present in muscle at rest. That is the definition. Tone is the amount of partial contraction present in muscle at rest as evidenced by passive movement. Resistance to passive movement is the procedure you are doing. Definition is its intrinsic contraction of muscle at rest. Okay. But what are the difference between spasticity and rigidity?
Spasticity is in pyramidal lesions.
Correct.
Rigidity in extrapyramidal lesions.
Correct.
Then velocity dependence.
Which one?
Spasticity is velocity dependent. And rigidity velocity independent.
Yes. Then?
Rigidity remains throughout the movement, and spasticity usually only during initiation of the movement.
So universal distribution is a characteristic feature of rigidity. And how do you elicit spasticity and how do you elicit rigidity?
Rigidity fast movements is done in spasticity.
Correct.
Rigidity
Slow
movements. It is
motion. Slow motion. So So rigidity occur in both anti-gravity muscles and pro-gravity muscles. Spasticity is specifically for anti-gravity muscles. So distribution is different, and the speed with which you elicit is also different, and the inference also is different. So what is the final diagnosis in this case?
Sir, it's Parkinson's disease.
What else you want to look for in a Parkinson's patient? There may be other features, no?
Okay, sir.
Yes, that will be helpful to make a differential diagnosis for this patient.
Okay. Cognitive impairment.
Cognitive
sleep
impairment,
disturbance.
sleep disturbance, hallucinations. Anything else?
Then reduction of smell.
Excellent. So cranial nerve involvement can occur in this patient. First and foremost thing is you said higher functions, hallucinations and dementia. That's very good. Then you said about the cranial nerves. Smell is a very important thing in cranial nerve. Also, you may have dysarthria, and you may have drooling of saliva, and cranial nerve, bradykinesia, facial muscle don't move, so you may have
Blood
mask-like
pressure.
faces. Okay. What else you look for? I will look for the tone of the neck muscles. Ask the patient to relax and roll it sideways, and there will be resistance to that throughout the movement. And what are the procedures you do to check the motor system? You will ask the patient to get up from the chair. It will be very difficult. And you will ask the patient to roll in the bed. That also may not be possible. And you will ask the patient to write. And you will like a classical micrographia. And you will ask the patient to walk. What type of gait you expect in this patient?
Sir, sustenance gait.
Tell me the components of that.
Sir, patient may be slow to start walking.
Slow to start.
Then more. Then it will be rapid, short stride length, short steps.
It will be slow motion bradykinesia to start with. The trunk will be stooped forward. Check 2.
Then there will not
3.
be arm wings.
There will be universal flexion. Neck is flexed, trunk is flexed, hip is flexed, knee is flexed, elbow is flexed, wrist is flexed. Everything is flexed position. And arms may not swing. And the distance between the 2 feet will be very narrow. And stride is distant, longitudinal distance between the feet. So stride will also become small, shorter and shorter. And as the patient starts walking, the speed will gradually increase, and it will seem that he is going to run as if to catch his center of gravity, because he keeps stooping and stooping. And when you ask him to turn back, unlike a normal person who takes 180 degrees turn abruptly, he will not be able to do. He takes 5, 6, 7 steps and then slowly turns. These are the important points you note in the gait, and only one side is affected. You will see that that arm will not swing. That's a peculiarity of that type of gait. You may also find some autonomic disturbance in them in the form of sweating abnormalities and sialorrhea. Do you get any sensory findings in these patients? Sensory system is basically normal, but majority of these patients complain of aches and pains, and that can be one of the early manifestations of Parkinson's disease. And if you look at pathology, what is the pathology in these patients?
Depletion of dopaminergic neurons
Yes?
in the substantia nigra.
What's the color of this substantia nigra? What's the term nigra indicate to you?
Black color.
Black.
Black
So
color.
pigment is lost. It becomes lighter in color. And remaining neurons, what happens to them? They may have Levy bodies. So dopamine is depleted. And depletion of dopamine is proportionate to the amount of rigidity of the patient. Lesser the dopamine, more the rigidity. But the dopamine has nothing to do with the tremor component of it. That's the peculiarity. Okay. So what are your differential diagnoses you have to offer? Before we go to that, what is Levy body? You said Levy body just now. What is Levy body? Levy bodies are what color? They are eosinophilic intracytoplasmic inclusions made of alpha synuclein. Okay, so what are the different causes where you can elicit this Levy bodies in the human body? Other diseases? Is it specific for Parkinson's, or it can be seen Levy body dementia? It can be seen Alzheimer's disease, Haller-Walden's disease. So it's not specific for this condition, but it can be seen in this condition. What's your differential diagnosis?
There's Parkinson's disease.
So whenever you have differential diagnosis, you put differential diagnosis for tremor. You put differential diagnosis for rigidity. You put differential diagnosis for bradykinesis. Like that it goes, no?
Okay,
So what extra you for making out differential diagnosis? Most important differential diagnosis is Parkinsonism. So what all things can you look for? Micrographia, classical gait you said, freezing. What is freezing? Freezing is a difficulty to initiate the process of movement. Okay. The last part, the important points, postural instability, direction of fall, autonomic disturbance we already mentioned. The last component, cognition defect. What are the important things you'll take in the history of cognition? Usually, cognition defects are not there in Parkinson's disease.
Dementia, hallucination, etc.
Etc. That's correct. If these hallucinations and dementia start appearing 1 year after the onset of Parkinsonian features, that goes along with Parkinson's disease. On the other hand, if they are there from the beginning of the illness, that rules out Parkinson's disease and make you think it is Parkinsonism. So in the history, specifically we must know the day and time when the hallucinations and cognition abnormality started. This timing is important to differentiate between the two.
Okay, sir.
So one differential diagnosis, multi-system atrophy. The term multi-system, sorry for the spelling mistake, multi-system, what is multi-system? Which are multiple?
Sir, it is characterized by autonomic failure and cerebellar symptoms will be there.
So it can be with cerebellar system, then you call it as a multi-system atrophy, MSA-C. When it's dominantly Parkinson, we say MSA-P. And the third type is multi-system atrophy with autonomic disturbance, which is previously called as Child-Draggers. So multi-system atrophy, atrophy of the cerebellar system, pyramidal system, extrapyramidal system, and sometimes autonomic disturbance also takes place. So what are the things you look for to diagnose this condition? You look for pyramidal signs, upgoing plantar. If it's upgoing plantar, possibility of multiple episodes of strokes leading on to vascular type of Parkinson has been thought of, where dominantly it is the lower limbs that is affected. Also, we have to check the standing blood pressure in all cases of Parkinson's disease. If there's a postural drop of blood pressure, think about multi-system. atrophy.
Okay.
So specifically you look for upgoing plantar cerebellar signs. So multi-system atrophy, components, pyramidal cerebellar autonomic, and autonomic disturbance can be with symptoms of syncope, incontinence, GIT problems, diarrhea, incontinence, impotence, dysphonia, stridor. So these are the things you look for in a multi-system atrophy. Accordingly, you classify them into P, C, and autonomic. 3 types are there. So next differential diagnosis will be progressive supranuclear palsy. What is it?
Sir, it presents with a symmetrical Parkinsonism.
So
There will be cognitive
almost all Parkinsonism are symmetrical except Parkinson's disease. So symmetry is okay.
Okay, sir.
The patient under discussion. The illness started as tremor on one side. How does the PSP starts? Usually it is the gait problem, falls, gait problem, and it is the axial rigidity that takes place. Axial muscles become rigid, so they will not be stooping forward like Parkinson patient. They will be erect and they will be falling backwards.
Okay, sir.
Right. Supranuclear means what? Okay. So features will be gaze palsies. They may not be able to look up and down. Obviously, tendency to fall will be more. So they fall early, they fall backwards. They are associated dysphagia, slurred speech, visual disturbances, particularly gaze palsies may be characteristic feature. So when somebody repeatedly falls, instead of thinking Parkinson's to start with, also think the variation progressive supranuclear palsy. Dementia with Lewy bodies, how do you diagnose? We already mentioned this type of dementia appear early in Parkinson's. Parkinson's disease, these manifestations appear after 1 year. So early cognition impairment, hallucination, and fluctuation in the cognition are clues. This is dementia with Lewy bodies. Then comes the cerebellar syndromes. How do you differentiate?
Cerebellar signs can be.
Cerebellar signs. What are cerebellar signs? Intention tremor.
Intention tremor, fast-pointing attacks, cerebellar ataxia, dysdiadochokinesia, rebounding tenderness.
Not tenderness, phenomenon. Rebound phenomenon.
Rebounding phenomenon. Sorry, sir. Rebounding phenomenon.
Falls to the side.
Falls to the same side.
They have hypotonia. Hypotonia, not rigidity. Okay. So intention tremor, ataxia, classical speech, fall sideways. Okay. So coming to the excited physiological tremor. You mentioned a physiological tremor. What are those situations where you get excited physiological tremor?
Sir, chronic anxiety, hyperthyroidism, excess alcohol intake, caffeine intake.
Very good, very good.
Others
very good. So, thyrotoxicosis, how do you diagnose features of thyrotoxicosis? It's well known to you: tremor, tachycardia, diarrhea, weight loss, sweating, palpitation, menstrual issues. What menstrual issues they have? Thyrotoxicosis.
Sir, amenorrhea.
Amenorrhea, that's right. And pheochromocytoma can also manifest as episodic palpitation, tremor, and postural dizziness. The other differential diagnosis to be offered, rare though. Rare things are rare, but still we mentioned for completion's sake.
Benign essential tremors.
Wilson's disease. How do you diagnose Wilson's disease? They may have hepatic presentation, episodic hepatitis presentation, episodic jaundice. And usually the problem starts in younger age. They may have psychiatric manifestations, motor manifestations. They may have cerebellar signs. They may have pyramidal signs. And looking at the eye, you may have what ring?
Chaos rings.
IF ring can be seen. And there are different types of dystonic syndromes also. And there can be tremor sometimes. So, in the past history, the family history, drug history, what all things you are going to concentrate. Suppose in the past he was a boxer. What do you think? Boxer. Muhammad Ali, boxer. Repeated punch on the head. Pugilistic type of Parkinson's. That's one cause of repeated trauma. Suppose somebody had encephalitis in the past. He can have post-encephalitic Parkinsonism. The past history is important for us. Somebody with recurrent jaundice in the past, cirrhosis liver, maybe Wilson's disease. Family history, help you. Family history. Many members of the family who have tremor. What is it? You are mentioning about a benign essential tremor. How is it transmitted? What is the genetic background of essential tremor? So autosomal dominant transmission. And what about Wilson's? What about Wilson's disease? Is autosomal recessive? And what about the drugs? What all drugs you are thinking about in this patient? Somebody with a tremor, what all drugs you suspect? What all can you see what is written here? Drug history. Which all drugs comes to your mind when you are talking about tremor?
Sir, salbutamol.
Good.
Lithium.
Lithium.
Sodium valproate.
Sodium valproate. Can you tell some drugs producing cerebellar tremor?
Lithium.
Anti-epileptic drugs, lithium, right. So drugs used for asthma can produce tremor. Thyroid drugs in excess can produce problems. Anti-epileptic drugs can produce problems. What are psychiatric drugs producing tremor and Parky features?
Antipsychotics.
Namely?
Haloperidol. Metoclopramide.
Metoclopramide is a psychiatric drug?
No, sir.
Phenothiazine group of drugs. Haloperidol is one, okay. Antiemetic drugs, what are they? Which produces Parky? We could name some antiemetic drugs.
The metoclopramide.
That's correct. So lithium you already mentioned. Coming to the past history, how does history of strokes help you? Recurrent stroke can produce multi-infarct state, which can also have Parkinson features. So what is Parkinsonian plus syndrome?
Sir, multiple systemic atrophy, progressive, other diseases like multiple systemic atrophy, progressive supranuclear palsy, corticobasal syndrome.
Parkinson plus syndrome. So look for postural fall, gaze palsy, pyramidals. In these situations, you are suspecting Parkinson plus syndrome. So these are the pointers towards Parkinsonian plus syndrome. Okay. So, okay, investigation. What investigation you want? not much investigation can confirm your diagnosis. Not much investigations are there unless you have some suspicion or Parkinsonian plus syndrome, when you may go for a CT scan, MRI scan. And one important thing that makes the patient vulnerable to falls, incontinence, and dementia will be normal pressure hydrocephalus. So such situations has to be diagnosed and treated. So you may do a CT scan. Otherwise, not much role for CT, MRI.
Okay, sir.
So treatment, what all treatment you give?
So drug therapy,
Physiotherapy is very, very important. And commonly these patients are not given levodopa unless they have got disabling symptoms, because the effect of these drugs wane off as time passes by. So you hold on the drug as long as possible without starting very early. So anticholinergics are given. How does it help you?
It helps to decrease the tremor, symptomatic relief.
This type of diseases usually occur in people who are relatively senior. So what are the side effects they may have when you use anticholinergic drugs? They may have dry mouth, they may precipitate glaucoma, constipation, more important, retention urine, and sometimes hallucinations. Okay, that may be a problem, but still it can be tried for tremor. And next that is levodopa. How do they act?
There is the precursor of dopamine.
They increases the amount of dopamine. Okay. How does dopamine agonist act? These three drugs, levodopa, dopamine agonist, and MAO inhibitors, are useful for motor symptoms. They may not help you much with the tremor component of it. Okay. So when do you use these COMT inhibitors, COMT inhibitors? To reduce the off time. So side effects of levodopa appear after some time, and they go for what is called as on and off phenomenon. So sometimes they may not able to walk, sometimes able to walk. Just like you put on a switch on and off, the patient may stop in between. To reduce that, you may add COMT inhibitors. And sometimes levodopa can produce side effects. What are side effects of levodopa? It can produce different side effects.
It can induce involuntary movements.
That's right, dyskinesia. For that you add amantadine. What's amantadine? It's an antiviral drug. It has got effect against Parkinson disease also, to reduce the number of dyskinetic episodes. One cause for chorea is levodopa. So involuntary movements are well known. And when do you use apomorphine? Apomorphine is for severe cases who do not respond to any other drug, to reduce the off period of these patients. And this is usually given in the patients who are admitted to hospital or nursing homes. You give them a subcutaneous infusion. So it's not that easy to give at home. So apomorphine is given as an infusion for resistant type of cases. As you continue to treat these patients, you will find that the effect of the drugs wanes off. And after some time, that if dose has to be increased, more and more side effects appear, and it becomes not at all possible to continue with the treatment. So there are some options left over, like surgery. So you know the extrapyramidal system in trouble. So you may do thalamotomy, palidotomy, subthalamotomy, deep brain stimulation, and even adrenal tissue can be transplanted, and that is also under trial. So this is how you approach this patient. The problems of these patients were mainly tremor. We tried to analyze tremor. Second was rigidity. We tried to analyze rigidity. Third one was bradykinesia. So out of these three, which is the most disabling for this patient?
Sir, bradykinesia.
So bradykinesia is the most disabling symptom. Okay. And what are the two different types of rigidity they can have?
So, lead pipe rigidity,
And
cogwheel rigidity, and
cogwheel
lead pipe.
rigidity. What is the difference between lead pipe rigidity and cogwheel rigidity? Both are having rigidity, but in cogwheel rigidity there is overlapping tremor also. That gives the feeling of cogwheeling.
Okay, sir.
So, JR, who is in charge today? Who is the JR? Yes, Vishnupriya? Parvati, okay. What is Holmes tremor? Holmes tremor is a tremor that is seen at rest and during action also. It's usually seen when there's a red nucleus lesion, and it comes as a 4 to 6 hertz amplitude. Okay. What is primary orthostatic tremor? Primary orthostatic tremor is a tremor occurring in elderly citizens. When they stand, they get tremor of the lower limbs. When they start moving, the orthostatic tremor disappears. And what is dystonic tremor? Dystonic tremor is a tremor occurring in people who are having dystonia of the limbs. So as the dystonic tremor appears, you just tap the affected part and the tremor disappears. That's a classical feature. Tell me how to differentiate Parkinson plus syndromes.
The associated feature. That is if there is a eye involvement, then it's a type 3, then there is progressive sequence type 3, and autonomic symptom expression, then like atrophy, associated with cerebral symptoms, then MSAC, and postural hypertension.
One more question is there. Name a drug that slows the disease Parkinson's. Which drug slows the disease Parkinson? There is no drug that can slow down the Parkinson's. We give only symptomatic care and it goes on like that. Yesterday years it was thought that the MAO-B inhibitor can prevent the progression of disease. That is no more valid. No drug is known to slow down the progress. Very basic question. What is meant by ubiquitin? What is ubiquitin?
Associated with the absorption,
Ubiquitin is a protein molecule of around 73 amino acids together, and it is seen in all eukaryotic cells. What is eukaryotic cell? What do you mean by eukaryotic cell? It's a cell that contains the membrane-bound organelle like nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. What's the application of ubiquitin when we discuss Parkinson's disease?
Ubiquitin for the depletion of toxic metabolism of protein. There is ineffective ubiquitination of protein. There will be acceleration of the abnormal protein.
Implied in the pathogenesis of different types of neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's disease. It's not implied in infections and immune-mediated diseases. It's also implied in genetic diseases and different types of cancers. What is the importance of ubiquitin in the diagnosis of different diseases? You can demonstrate antibodies to ubiquitin and you can see which all cells has got this ubiquitin, and that's how you can pick up the disease process. Like Lewy bodies can demonstrate it using ubiquitin antibodies. You can demonstrate Pick's disease, motor neuron disease, Huntington's disease. So even the malary hyaline of alcohol liver disease can be localized with the help of antibodies to ubiquitin, and ubiquitin can also be a target for the drug treatment of different diseases. So the Parkinson's plus features are features that differentiate it from Parkinson's disease, namely Parkinson plus features are symmetrical. 2. These patients fall early in the course of disease, unlike in Parkinson's disease where the fall comes later. Gaze restriction is a feature of Parkinson plus. Autonomic disturbances are features of Parkinson plus. Dementia within 1 year of onset disease is Parkinson plus. That's dementia early means just 1 year. Rapid course is very characteristic of Parkinson plus. Parkinson's disease may go decades, and usually this group of diseases do not respond to levodopa, unlike the Parkinson's disease.